Hello, Black women. Today I am talking about being a Black woman healing. Hey, everyone, it's Rushni, a content creator, a special needs mom, a healing journey coach for Black and West Indian women, and a Black woman healing. I create humor filled healing spaces so that other Black women can heal too. You're welcome. Okay. If you are new here, or if you are true here, drop a pineapple in the chat. Let me know where you are watching from and hit the like button. Follow and subscribe. Hit the arrow button and share this video with another Black woman who is on a healing journey as well. Okay, today your girl is a little late and I have good reason for being late. Today is May 31st. And today was the day that my son was scheduled for an all day back surgery. Okay. If you have heard me talking about my son is scheduled for a surgery, I am the mom of a son with special needs. My son is scheduled for a surgery. I am the mom of a son with special needs. Well, today was supposed to be his surgery, and his surgery was postponed. So we are not sitting in a waiting room at the hospital hours into a surgery at this point. We are at home. My son finished sixth grade yesterday. And what a year it was. Oh my God. Okay. If you've been here, you saw the chaos and pandemonium. And he is downstairs living his best I'm starting summer life. I mentioned in the last video that I put up, the pre recorded one, that there was a potential that his surgery was going to be postponed. It has been. It's going to be later in the year. We're on a date in August. However, if they find a date earlier than that, they will move us forward. Okay. But I am surfing. I am surfing these waters that are stirring. If you're here, drop a pineapple in the chat. Let me know where you are watching from, where you're located. I am live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and on Twitter X. Although Facebook was tripping for a second. So it took me a second to figure out what was going on, but your girl is here now. I also don't have any like solid topic today because I wasn't planning on being here live, but because everything has been stirred around and shaken, I decided to come out and chat with you guys all about being a Black woman healing. I asked on several platforms what I should talk about today, and I got a few responses from different ladies. And so I just thought I would sit here today and chat about being on a healing journey, respond to some of the questions that were given to me on the platforms, as well as respond to any questions that anybody drops in the comment section down below. So if you have a question for me, drop your comment in the comment section down below. I'll be able to see it, except on Twitter. If you're watching on Twitter, I can't see your comments. But if you're watching on Facebook, I believe LinkedIn lets me see the comments as well. And on YouTube, drop your healing journey comments or questions in the comment section down below. Okay. The other thing is, you guys, is this a podcast? I was downstairs running my mouth with my husband, and he was like, "You need to go upstairs because you have to do your podcast." And I was like, "I don't have no podcast." And then I was like, "Wait, is this a podcast?" If you are a person that tunes in on a weekly basis, do you consider this a podcast? I think because I'm a video person first, um, it's weird for me to think of this as a podcast, although I do put it under podcast in on YouTube nowadays because I just thought it was another way for it to be distributed. But I don't consider this to be a podcast. So if you are a person who tunes in every week on Fridays, let me know in the comments. Do you consider this a podcast? Should I consider it a podcast? What? Anyway, all right. So like I said, if you have any comments or questions about being on a healing journey, drop them in the comment section down below, and I will do my best to just chat with you guys, hang out, and we can all come up with our responses together. Until then, I'm going to respond to some of the things that were asked on other platforms. I got 3 responses from different people across platforms, and so I made a little banner to show what people were asking me, and I'm just going to chop it up to try my best to respond to the questions that I was given. Amen. So the first thing I was asked about being on a healing journey was, give me one second. Your girl felt like she had to burp, okay? And she didn't want to burp in y'all's ears. Was this person said, can you talk about feeling abandoned or rejected or worthless? If you didn't cover those yet, I know you did more than likely. I don't know if I have. So I'm going to cover it here. Okay. I went back and asked for clarification. I was like, in general or like in specific parts of your life? Yeah. And this person was like, I apologize for being late with their response. Personally, what a person feels the way when they feel that way due to the trauma that has happened when the person was a child growing up, and it's spilled over into the way that they act in relationships, no matter what the relationship is. Okay, that is a great question, and that is absolutely something I can chat about. Okay, so let's just break this down for a second. The first part of this question is about feeling abandoned, rejected, or worthless. Okay. My first thought is I would validate the feelings because okay, so let me pull back even more. Let me pull back even more. Um, where do I start? A person's thoughts become their feelings, and their feelings influence their choices, their actions, and their behaviors. Yeah. So thoughts become feelings, feelings become actions. Let's just put it that way. Okay. Choices, behaviors. Yeah. Thoughts are in the spirit realm, feelings are in the soul realm, actions and behaviors are in the physical. Your spiritual becomes your soul, and mental becomes manifests in the physical. Yeah. Okay. That's as simple as I can put it. So the feeling of being abandoned and rejected and worthless that you then clarify is showing up all the time in your life could, I don't know, but could be originating from a thought that you actually are those things, right? So then you have to ask yourself, why do I think I'm abandoned, rejected, or worthless? Yeah. Um, Usually, especially based on this person's clarification, that came from somewhere, somebody else gave you that feeling. Somebody else implanted in your mind as a child that you were abandonable, that they would leave you, right? Because maybe they left you. They either left you physically, they weren't there, they left you psychologically, they left you emotionally, they didn't support you, they didn't nurture you, they didn't cover you, they didn't nothing you. Okay? So you as a child rightfully took on the thought process that you were abandonable because somebody abandoned you. You also took on the thought process that you were rejectable. Yeah? Because somebody validly rejected you. Yes? Or you perceived it as rejection. Whatever it is, it was real to you. It was real to you. Okay? And rejection means to what does rejection mean? I'm sitting here chopping it up with you guys. I'm just going to look up the definition. Somebody dropped the definition of rejection in the rejection means to dismiss or refuse. So somebody made you feel dismissed rightfully, validly. And the last thing you said is worthless, which means somebody put into your spirit, into your thought process, a valid feeling that you were not worth much. And all of those valid experiences that you had became feelings, right? They anchored from that thought into your mental and soul, right? How you show up. And now you are acting out of that place. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this is what I would say. I would go to the root. I would address the root about one, where did that thought come from? Do I agree with the fact that I am abandonable? Do I agree with the fact that I am rejectable, dismissible? Do I agree with the fact that I am not worth much? That's where I would start. Yeah. And the way I would do that is I would ask myself the questions that I just asked myself. Like I would literally sit there and be like, wait a minute. Do I agree with that? Like as a child, I validly, well, no, let me go back. Let me go back. Let me go back. Let me screw. Let me go back. The first thing I would do is validate that I actually had that happen to me. That's what I would do. I would validate the child on the inside of me that felt abandoned. That felt rejected, and I would validate her. I would let her know, yes, boo boo, you went through that and it was trash. Okay. I would let her know that you should not have had to go through that. I'm moving you guys up on the screen so I don't look like I'm looking down. I would let her know that adults are adults and adults are fallible and adults don't always show up for us the way that we want them to, especially now from my adult self. I would look back at the adults that dropped me and I would think to myself, they dropped me. And I would tell myself, they dropped me as a child and they did their best, and their best still was neglectful and abusive and abandoning and rejecting and made me feel worthless. And that is real and that is valid and that happened. Okay. And I would spend a lot of mental time validating the fact that that happened. Okay. And then the next thing I would do is I would ask myself, do I still agree? Do I agree with that? Do I want to agree with that thought? Do I want to agree with the thought? Not the feeling, the thought behind the feeling, the thought that's generating that feeling. Do I want to agree with that? The next thing that I would do is, because clearly you don't want to, or else you wouldn't be asking this question. Okay. I know this is a long way, but I'm getting there. Um, the next thing I would do is I would start doing those things for myself to retrain my brain toward the me that I want to show up to be, the feeling that I want to have for myself. I would release my feelings of worth. I would release my feelings of ability to be dismissed. I would release my feelings of ability to be left from those people entirely. Like they would no longer be the source of where I get the thought from. And I would replace it with myself. Does that make sense? I hope I'm getting this out. I would start asking myself, am I leaving me? Am I dismissing me? Am I valuing me? And I would walk through life asking myself those questions. And I would start not self abandoning. I would start not self rejecting. I would start not self dismissing. I would start not self devaluing. And I would retrain my thoughts toward the me that I wanted to be. And then my thoughts would become my feelings, and my feelings would inform my actions, my choices, and my behaviors. That was a long way. I don't know if that made any sense, but hopefully it made sense. That I would do my own healing. I would do my own wound care, spiritual, emotional, mental wound care. I would take away the power from other people who wounded me to heal me, because they wounded me. And if they're not doing the work, they're not going to come heal me. So now I'm powerless. I would take that back and I would tend to my own wound of feeling abandoned, of feeling rejected, and of feeling worthless. And I would work on healing it by giving it to myself. Listen, goodness, yes, that made sense. Hopefully, it made sense. Okay. 1968 chipster. I hope it made sense, because if you are waiting for the person that wounded you to come heal you, you're going to be waiting a long time. Okay. Tis going to be a long time waiting. Okay. Because if they're, listen, I have a course right now in my Pineapple Crowns coaching membership. It's on the screen, thepineapplecrowns.com. You can't enroll right now, but you can join the wait list. about healing the mother wound. And one of the things I say in there is the person who wounds you ain't coming to heal you. And I'm not telling you that to be mean. I'm telling you that, listen, I'm telling you what I know. If the person was operating from their own wounded deficit and they have done zero work to heal their own wound, and from that wound, they wounded you. Now, in your adult state, if you waiting for them to come heal you, they ain't coming. They're not coming. So now, unfortunately, if you look at it from a shadow side, or fortunately, if you look at it from a I have the power to create something different side, you get to work on healing yourself, right? And if your choices are choices that are coming from a feeling of worthlessness, your actions, and your choices are choices that are coming from a feeling of they will reject me. Everyone will reject me. Everyone will leave me. Everyone thinks I'm worthless. You have the power to, over time, incrementally challenge and change the thoughts that are affecting those feelings, that are affecting that action. Okay? By actively repopulating your thoughts. And instead of waiting on somebody else to do it, you do it. There you go. All right. Amen. Okay. If anybody has any questions about healing journey stuff, let me know in the comments. Like I said, today is not a topic per se. Today is just about being a Black woman healing, right? Like I said, I wasn't even going to be live today. I was going to be in the waiting room of a surgery situation, and my son was going to be deep under anesthesia. But you can't put somebody deep under anesthesia who has a respiratory virus. Okay, so that's where we are. We can't do it. We can't do it. Justly, the mother wound is not talked about enough. Great, it's being addressed more. Yeah, I was not going to talk about it either in my coaching membership. The next topic that was on my spreadsheet was productivity stuff, but I just kept hearing the mother wound, the mother wound, the mother wound, like in the atmosphere, like in my brain. And then when I started putting the course together, I started seeing like all these topics on the internet, and I was like, okay, that might just be confirmation bias, but it's everywhere. But it's important because nobody is blaming. I had this conversation on TikTok recently. There's a difference between fault and blame and accountability. And I made a whole video about this. I'm not going to go into all of that. But knowing where the wound comes from empowers you to take accountability to do something about it. That's all I care about. I don't care about blaming nobody for nothing because they did the best they could. Now, was their best good enough? Clearly not, because I'm out here limping and bleeding out the side of my neck. Sorry. Okay. Their best was kind of raggedy. All right. But their ceiling was my floor. They didn't do amazingly, but they did something. Okay. Listen. Anyway, next thing somebody asked me on a different platform. And like I said, if somebody has a question, drop it in the comments and I'll respond to it. Or if you just want to share what it's like being a Black woman on a healing journey, drop that in the comments too. Let's chop it up. Okay, so the next thing somebody asked me is this. They said, I'm curious, with all your growth, how are you surfing the attacks from the enemy? Is it doubling down on self-care, journaling, and Bible reading? Okay, this was specifically directed toward me because this one came from Patreon. Okay, so I'm going to go through the whole thing. With all my growth, well, first of all, thank you for saying that you're noticing that I'm growing. Okay. I feel like I'm growing. Thank you for saying that you notice it. Amen. How am I surfing the attacks of the enemy? Okay, let me give two things in there. First of all, they are referencing a metaphor that I use all the time. I say that life is not about waiting for the waves to stop. Life is about learning how to surf. Yeah. In my 20s and early 30s, I thought that I was waiting for the waves of life to stop, the metaphorical waves of life to stop before my life could begin. That's what I was doing. And I was deep in a depression. Okay. I'm talking about sleep all day, in the burrito. I can't believe this is happening. I want this all to stop, depression. Okay. I was waiting for the waves to stop, for calm water, because I thought that life was about calm water. It took me way into my 30s to realize, oh no, this is not, the water's not getting calmer. The waves are actually getting bigger. Okay. So then I had to switch and be like, life is not about waiting for the waves to stop. Life is about learning how to navigate and flow on these waves. Okay. And nowadays, I have even gone further where I feel like life is about having the cutest surfboard that I maintain, keep buffed and waxed, okay? And putting on a little lip gloss and the cutest bathing suit I have and running into the waves, looking forward to the ride, okay? But listen, that's advanced. Don't hurt yourself if you haven't gotten to that part yet. So that's the metaphor that they are referencing about how am I surfing, right? Because they're familiar with that metaphor. The next thing that they say is, how am I surfing the attacks from the enemy? Okay, this is going to be another. You know what? I don't mean to be all deep, but I guess I'm just a deep person now, because this is going to be a kind of a deep answer too. But I'm going to say it because it's going to help somebody, okay? Those who seek find, and those who are seeking me will find an answer in what I'm saying. Um the first thought I had was, is it an attack from the enemy? So the first way that I surf the attacks is I ask myself, is this an attack from an enemy? Because, okay, let me just say it how I'm feeling it, because I'm like trying to think, but if I perceive it to be an attack from an external enemy, that puts the power for me to affect change in that place into an external place. And I understand where we get it from. It's church talk, and church talk often puts the attack externally to an external enemy that's like coming against us, and we are in this persecutory war or whatever. However, I also, in reading my Bible, believe that I am created in the image of a creator. And that creator has put all of his creative power divinely on the inside of me. And me understanding that is in the entire point of a healing journey. It is a return to divine wholeness. It is a return to a divine understanding of my creative power. So the first thing I do to surf the attacks of the enemy is I ask myself, is this even an attack of the enemy? Have I been trained to toss my power to some external thing and therefore feel like I'm being persecuted? And if that's the case, I am less likely to perceive the abundant ways of escape that are provided for me, because to me, the power is outside of me. Hopefully that came out. Okay. That's the first thing that comes out. That's the first thing I think of. Am I being attacked? Because if I'm being attacked by an enemy, then what can I do about it except try to shield myself from attacks? Which is not how I start anymore. I have done a lot of work to transform how I perceive what's happening to me. So the first thing I do to surf is I question my perception in the situation that I'm in. And most of the times when I do that, I realize that I have something different I can do to affect change. I take the power from an external question and I bring it back here. And not necessarily like in a blame or a fault way, because like I said, there's a difference, and I know that there's a possibility of imploding on oneself. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I don't, the first thing I do is reprocess it through the lens of, maybe I'm not being attacked, maybe it's not an external enemy. And if I do that, I'm more likely to look for opportunities to create a different outcome, right? This kind of goes under the same thing I was saying earlier about my thoughts become my feelings, become my actions, right? The spiritual becomes the soul, becomes the physical. If in my spirit I think I'm being attacked by an enemy, My mind is going to tell me the solution to that is to, uh, I don't know. What do you do when you're being attacked? Defend. That's the word. My mind is going to tell me, the spirit telling me I'm being attacked, the mind telling me I got to defend. And now my actions are defensive actions. Yeah. And I don't start there. I'm not saying you can't be attacked by an enemy. I'm saying, is everything an attack? I didn't say you were saying this, but I'm just like, just for the people listening, is it really an attack by an enemy? That's the first thing. So I question whether it's an attack by the enemy first. And if I realize, no, it's not an attack by an enemy, it's a result of somebody else's poor choices. It's a result of my lack of boundaries. It's a result of my inability to express or discern my boundaries and express or enforce them. It's a result of me putting myself in negative situations over and over and expecting a different result from this person. It's a result of me putting myself around negative people who are unhealed and not trying to heal and expecting them to behave like healed people. It's the result of me staying in a job that I know is sucking the living daylights out of me. And I ask myself that first, right? And then, like, through that filter, I have a different experience of the thing. So that's the first thing. Okay. Um, a lot of it is more about changing how I perceive what's going on. I put up a video on TikTok recently about, I think it was a clip from a recent video I did about depression and things that I do to manage my depression diagnosis. Yeah. And I got into an interesting conversation in the comments and yada, 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 and whatever. And I want to say this: there are two types of people that I have encountered in the world. One is what Andrew Huberman calls generators, right? What I call creators, what other groups call growth mindset, right? And the other is projectors, victim, fixed mindset. Yeah. The generator, creator, growth mindset people look at life through the lens of, I can generate something different. I have creative power to change the outcomes, or not change, influence strongly the outcomes. I am never stuck. I have options, right? If you're a Christian, when the Bible tells you he makes a way of escape, you looking for the ways of escape because he made them, right? You have a growth mindset. You have the capacity to think through what's happening and come up with different perceptions even. And those perceptions change how you feel about what's going on. And those feelings generate different choices and actions on your part. And on this side, there are the people who are projectors, and then life is happening to them. And like life is just happening to them. They are not happening to life. Life is happening to them. And they tend to, the lens through which they experience life is through like a victim's mindset. And I'm not judging because I had this. Okay. I had a depression diagnosis. I tried on this side and this side didn't work. So I went over here. But, life is happening to them. This happened to them. They don't have any recourse. They're stuck. There's nothing they can do. This person did it to them. This job did it to them. This relationship did it to them. This, right? All of these things are coming at them, and they have a very rigid and fixed way of looking at things. These people are always changing their perception, choosing different perceptions, choosing how to look at things differently, choosing to create a better outcome. When they encounter something that could be perceived as an attack of an enemy, they are quick to like parse it through a lens of possibility and options, because they want to live a life where they have creative power. And those options are how they create. They always get to choose something different, right? And over here, these people don't. Okay. These people stop, these people stagnate, these people complain, these people externalize, they blame, they're paranoid, their victim mentality, or they keep trying to work the system that isn't giving them the thing, right? So I know that's a lot, but that's literally the first thing I thought of when I saw this. I don't see them as attacks per se. I see them as the waves of life that are just normal things that are coming. And that choice to see them that way changes how I interact with them. Okay, let me go on. Is it just doubling down on self care, journaling, Bible reading? No. Self care, journaling, and Bible reading are part of what I'm doing, but it's not just that. It's really mostly perceptive change at the beginning. My healing journey includes a massive choice to change my perspective. And through a more healed lens, I encounter all of it differently. So the choices for self care, the choice, and when I say self care, I mean, like the shallow versions of it, the aesthetics and the skincare and the spa and the pedicure. I mean that, okay? People downplay that. I mean all of those things, yes. But I also mean boundaries are self care to me, okay? Rest is self care, not just sleep. Sleep is self care, but intentional pauses in life so that I don't burn myself, grind myself into a fine dust, and so that I have moments to come back to me and center me. Rest is self care. Yeah. Intentionally choosing who I expose myself to is self care. Diminishing and or eliminating time spent with unhealing, drained, broken people who insist on living from their trauma, to me, is self-care. Okay? Um, Choosing to show up more expressively every single day is self-care, because to me, a person with a depression diagnosis, depression is the opposite of expression. That's how I have been working on that. So showing up as 1% more Rushni every single day is self-care. Learning how to say yes is self-care. Learning how to say no is self-care. Learning when to speak and when to refrain from speaking is self-care. You know what I mean? So like I don't just mean the I don't just mean like growing long nails. Also self-care. Buying cute necklaces. Also self-care. But I mean beyond that. Journaling, same thing. It's not necessarily the only thing that I do, but it's part of it. My journaling is writing in my book. My journaling is videos. You guys see me out here expressing myself. Journaling to me is giving my thoughts and my feelings and my emotions someplace to go beyond just milling around in my head, and someplace for me to objectively look at them and think, is this the healed version of me that I want to be? Because if they're up in here, sometimes I don't have enough distance from what's going on. And so I put them outside of myself by journaling, by videoing, whatever. And then I could look at it from a distance and be like, girl, that ain't healed at all. That's broken. Okay, you need to work on that. Um, and then you said in Bible reading, I have been reading my Bible more. I started during the pandemic. I read my Bible every day, and I have been slowly reading through the Bible. And ironically, the more I read and study my Bible, the less I am drawn to many. How do I say this? You see me choosing my words. The more I read and study my Bible, the less I am drawn to many manifestations of Western religious worship, because it don't feel like it aligns with what I'm reading. And that's a journey I've been on. So hopefully I took a while, but that's the answer to that. The perspective changes are where the growth has come from. I'm looking at your question again. With all my growth, the perspective changes. The choice every single day to wake up and know I get to choose what lens I look at life through has borne the most fruit, has borne the most fruit on my healing journey. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. If you are watching and you have any questions about healing journey stuff that you want me to talk about or that you just want to share, leave a comment, por favor. We can happily chop it up. Okay, I have one more thing that I got from, I think this was the YouTube community tab. So the first one was the Facebook group. The second one was Patreon. This one was the YouTube community tab. If you left something on one of those and you don't see it, it's because I didn't see it until now. So if you're here and you want it answered, drop a comment in the comment. Okay, this one. I would love to hear more about how we can laugh about our pain to heal. I saw this one and I was like, girl, I don't know. But yeah, okay, so let me think. Let me think. And if you are a person that incorporates laughter in your healing journey, let me know in the comments, okay? Because I would love to hear feedback on this as well. So I have a brand that highly incorporates joy, playfulness, and laughter. If you are new here and you are sitting here thinking, what is with all the pineapples? Listen, I like pineapples. They make me happy. Okay. Don't they make you happy? Look behind me. That don't look happy to you? Come on now. This, you see this one right here? This is a full body jumper. And this top of this pineapple, let me move the thing so you can see it. Come on. That's the hood. That's a full body jumper. And I'm 6'1". Okay. It fits me perfectly. If that don't make you happy, I don't know what's going on. All right. This is Funshine. This right here, Funshine Bear. That's Penelope. Yes, I know I'm saying it wrong. This one, I forgot what I named this one. I think Delaney gave me this one. Listen, the pineapples make me happy. Okay. And I'm all about joy and happiness. Okay. So humor is a huge part of my platform, my coaching membership, my life. Okay. I am just a humorous, kind of happy, goofy, joking person. I remain unserious in all the things. My trajectory out here on these internet streets was I started talking about natural hair back in the day. I realized that I was making people laugh naturally because they kept making comments about it, even though I wasn't trying to. I leaned heavily into humor related videos and commentary videos for years. And if I'm being honest, that's where a lot of the growth on some of the platforms came. The YouTube page grew because of hair stuff. The Facebook page blew up because I was out there wilding, talking crazy. Okay. And I'm just a person that laughs. When my father passed away, yeah, who is where I get this humorous lens from in life. And I was unable to go see him on his deathbed because of international border closings in April of 2020 when the pandemic started. And then and then my father died, and I had to watch his funeral on the internet. Okay. In May of 2020 in my living room. And during that funeral, I was giggling because all I could think of was my dad joking around about some of the things that I was seeing on the screen, because my dad was the person who would come to me during something like a funeral and like nudge me and say a bunch of jokes. So during the funeral, I'm laughing at what I perceived this man could have been saying to me. That was the moment when I realized I don't I don't be serious. I don't be serious. Listen, if I can sit in my living room and watch my father's funeral on the internet, okay, because I can't fly home to see this man. I didn't get to see him on his deathbed, even though I tried. I have to sit here and watch his funeral on the internet, and I'm still laughing. I'm going to always remain unserious, okay? So this question is beautiful because it's like how we can laugh at our pain to heal. Let me think. I'm just going to go off top. If I'm being honest and I look back at my life, laughter was a coping mechanism I learned from my father. Okay. My father chose joy. My father chose levity. My father chose community. My father chose expression. He was the creative, joyous, happy human that I saw in my life. And I thank God for him every single day because without him, this me might not have survived. okay? Because there were forces against this version of me. But he was, even though I didn't understand it, exactly what I needed to see, which is a person that chose to show up in life from a vantage point of laughter and joy and music and dancing and creativity and kind of like buck what the system was telling him to do, right? However, my dad being a boomer island man wasn't exactly super in touch with his feelings. And so, whenever anything remotely close to depth came in his direction, he deflected with laughter. Yeah. And I picked up that ability from him. So I also learned to deflect with laughter. However, as you can also tell, I am a person that loves deep. Okay. If you talk to me for 2 seconds and I really start talking to you, you're probably going to start telling me your deepest, darkest because I don't even want you to, but like I have that effect on people. Okay. So there was this combination of using jokes to deflect laughter because that's what was using jokes to deflect vulnerability and using jokes as a known entity to deflect from painful or vulnerable conversations, perceived painful conversations that I saw modeled in my father, and that was in direct conflict or contradiction, opposition to my love of depth, my love of depth. Okay. Now, what I've realized about laughter, like let's go biblical. Okay, let's go biblical. Okay. The Bible says that laughter does good like a medicine. And when you go into the science of laughter, they wasn't lying. First of all, physically, laughter, that movement does stuff in your body. It's like an internal massage. They've done studies and they've shown that that movement is baked into us for something. So the more you laugh, the more you have like this jostling around in your like lymph nodes and all this stuff that's actually like really good for you, right? So that is actually really good for you. All kinds of wonderful chemicals are released in the physical body when you laugh that are natural ways of us dealing with stress, okay? And combating stress hormones in our bodies. And so just laughter has humongous physical benefits. Yeah. And when I started to realize that my love of depth, my love of healing, my desire to live from a healing space, a continual journey returning back to the divine me that God intended me to be. And laughter did not have to be in contradiction to that. Laughter could be in support of that, right? So, what I saw modeled was a person who was using their laughter to deflect from vulnerable conversations. And that's fine. Okay. Like I said, everybody did their best. His ceiling is my floor. Okay. I build from where he left off. But I also realized that one, laughter has physical benefits, laughter has mental benefits. Okay. Let me see if I could get this out. One of the things that I love about humor, when you think about it a little bit more, is humor, help God. We find things humorous that verge on ridiculous. Hopefully I can get this out. Help God. Because it's like I could see it in my head, but the words. The reason why you laugh at something is you find it ridiculous. Something about what was said and what you're seeing in front of your face seem like there's so much in like contrast to each other that we have a response to it. We have a response of laughter. That's like the underpinning of humor. Yes, I know that's weird and nerdy, but it's true. I had that inkling many years ago when I started doing funny videos, and I was like, why are people laughing at what I'm saying? Like, I get that I have that power, but I was like, I don't understand. And being the nerd that I am, I started like thinking about it. It almost seems like it's because of this. And I really started to realize that that's what laughter was offering me when there were things I used to laugh about back in the day, and I could not laugh about them anymore because they were no longer ridiculous. And those things specifically were in the space of being a mom of a son with special needs. Yeah. I used to be able to laugh at certain jokes. Like, let me give you an example. Uh, Aisha Curry had a joke that she used to talk about seeing a guy in a wheelchair, and the guy in the wheelchair was like moving his legs to do the wheelchair. And I don't remember exactly what her joke was, but basically the premise was what made it funny to everybody in the audience was this juxtaposition that their understanding had of like people in wheelchairs shouldn't be able to like walk as well. So it was like literally, and I remember back in the day laughing at that joke. Whatever the premise was, everybody in that space had to believe that it was ridiculous for a person who was in a wheelchair to also be moving their legs and like guiding the wheelchair. Got it? Got it. Okay. Now I become a special needs mom. Now I understand more about wheelchair users and I can no longer laugh at that joke because that joke is no longer ridiculous to me because what's ridiculous is her lack of understanding of people in wheelchairs, right? So anyway, long story short, stuff like that started happening and stuff like that started making me realize, oh, okay, so humor is helping us unpack the absurdity and ridiculousness of life. And it's like a natural, uncontrollable, like you don't control laughter. Laughter just comes out, right? It's an uncontrollable response to how absurd some of this stuff is. I don't know if I'm making any sense at all. Help God. Life is absurd. Okay. This thing don't be making no sense sometimes. Either our understanding of what's going on is lacking or we are operating from a space of ignorance or other people are. And for us to interact with each other, we have to be able to express, almost like explode out our reactions to the grinding of that ridiculousness at times, the grinding of the absurdity of it. Because otherwise, it harms our souls. And so for me, humor and laughter and expression and oh, thank you, Cece. You said it's making sense because I don't feel like I'm making sense, but I'm trying here. Okay. Humor, laughter, and expression has become one of my favorite medicines to heal us. Okay. Because if God put into us, if the divine put into us this need to like burst out with the absurdity of this whole thing and the way that it was programmed into us does something to remedy the effects of the absurdity on us. Like they've done studies about what laughter does. It's kind of like when people cry tears and they test the tears, and tears that come from one thing have certain chemicals in it and tears that come from the other. It's so amazing to me that like programmed into our body is this ability to manage and work through some of the absurdities or the waves. Let's go back to the previous conversation. The waves of life that come our way programmed into us, okay, is like straight up something that like helps us heal. It's one of my favorite things to do. And that's why I actively and intentionally laugh at all times. Okay. I am so unserious. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all don't know me in real life, but one of the things that annoys the very, very, very serious people, because you know, there's those people that are like super, super serious and they take everything serious and you're never supposed to laugh. And there's a time and place for you to be busting out laughing, Rushni. And the fact that I am joyous and jovial and dancing and singing and laughing most of the time really grinds the gears of the people that like to sit in their pain and complain about it. It's just, I don't know. I don't know if I actually like answered your question of like how we can use laughter to heal our pain. But I feel like pain is life's hard spots, and laughter can be used as a salve on the hard spots. It's a natural salve to flow and surf through the absurdity of this whole thing. And listen, I'm gonna use it, okay? It's my natural bent. I honestly don't care where I got it from. If I got it from an old boomer island man who was deflecting his emotions of depth and his inability to have vulnerable conversations because he just kept going to humor as a way to deflect from conversations of death, I don't care if that's where I got it from. I got it now, okay? Y'all about to get these laughs. I'm gonna be unserious. I'm gonna be unserious. Cece said unserious would be a great t-shirt. I should probably do that, okay? Because when I tell you I intentionally remain unserious, what is the you know what? Let's look up some of the stuff. I'm gonna look up. Wait. I'm sitting here talking crazy. What does serious mean, you guys? Let's see. Serious means of a subject, state, or activity demanding careful consideration or application. Listen, acting or speaking sincerely or in earnest rather than in a joking or half-hearted manner. I don't know if I could do that. Y'all, I don't I don't know if I can do that. Doesn't it depend on the pain slash trauma? Some events in life are too deep for laughter. Okay, so what's your name? Fiona's like, okay, so that's what I'm talking about, Fiona. When my father died, yeah, let me take this off the screen. And I sat and I did not get to go to his deathbed because of the uh international border closings. Yeah. And therefore I missed my father. I missed saying goodbye to my father in real life. Okay. A man that I love. Okay. This man was not an absentee, horrible. I did not have complex mixed emotions. Okay. My father was the bomb. Loved the man. Tried to go home. Looked for plane tickets to go home. International border closings closed the borders, and I could not go home to see my father alive on his deathbed. The man then died. Yeah. The man died. And I had to sit in my living room and watch his funeral on YouTube. And this was not late in the pandemic when they had 3 different camera shots. Okay. This was the first funeral on the island that they were on during the pandemic in May of 2020. They had 1 camera shot. And the only reason they had a camera was because I was in the States and I was not there. It was 1 shot. I sat there looking at my father's funeral on the internet, staring at it in my living room. And then when the funeral was over, the camera just went off. And nobody had thought about me seeing my father's burial. Thanks be unto our big God, my cousin decided to go live on Facebook with her phone so I could see my father's burial. Yeah, yeah. I feel like that would be a painful, traumatic, deep. I mean, listen, I don't know what else in life is deeper than that. Okay. I have a son with special needs who was scheduled for a surgery today that got postponed. A major surgery that was going to be 5 to 8 hours minimum. Yeah. He has had multiple brain surgeries. They told me he was going to die. I'm not talking about, listen, and there's so much more. I got much more. Okay. This bevy over here is full of what probably would, by most people's standards, I don't know. I mean, I got more, but most people's standards, I have been, and multiple therapists have told me that I have experienced a life full of very deep pain and trauma. Okay. Pain and trauma. Yeah. Yeah. Um, When my father's funeral was happening, I was sitting in the living room giggling because the reason I was giggling is because the joy that I have is from my father. And I could hear him. I could hear him sitting next to me making jokes about stuff that was happening during his own funeral. Because my father in life was a person who would do stuff like that. He would come sit next to me during serious things and make jokes, right? So maybe, let's see, you said your dad passed in Jamaica. Oh, sweetie, listen, pause. I am so sorry. And I understand. Let me look in the camera. A lot of us had an experience like that. And it jars you and it shakes you to the core. And I'm so sorry. And because you're sharing with me that in your experience, that is not something where you can even access laughter, I won't laugh. There's no laughter for you on that part. But for me, there is. Okay. And honestly, because the joy came from my dad, to me, that was what solidified for me the fact that I am unserious at all times. Because the fact that I was sitting there giggling, okay, and literally during my father's funeral, telling the man to leave me alone. I'm literally sitting in my living room telling my father, leave me alone. I'm trying to be sad about the fact that you dead, and you sitting here telling me jokes about people hairstyle and the way the funeral going and fix this and that. Like, I was literally sitting there. Fiona said, okay, wait, you guys are having a whole conversation. Let me check. Okay, so I see. Fiona said on her previous thing, and then CCU said, I think that's the whole thing. Finding the funny in some things is like absurd, making it funny. Okay. And then Fiona said, me too, my dad passed in Jamaica and I couldn't go. And then Cece said it's almost like blasphemy that you're laughing, like it's unallowed, and that makes it even funnier. I don't think it's blasphemy. I think it's divine. That might sound really weird. I don't think it's blasphemy to giggle at the absurdity of how painful life can be. Matter of fact, I feel like the laughter is like a pressure gauge, a natural pressure gauge that God put in us to find relief. Now, I'm not saying that everyone feels that way, right? And I'm not saying that I'm sitting in other people's funerals busting out laughing. I'm not that, okay? But at my own father funeral in my own living room, yes, I was giggling, okay? Because I feel like my father would have had it no other way. I'm being serious, okay? The man that I knew, the unserious man that I knew, okay? The unserious man that I knew, he would have had it no other way. And Fiona said, I get that. I couldn't find laughter in that, but I do get it. And listen, I understand where you're coming from. First of all, let's have a pause. Your avatar is everything. If that's you, come on, Skip. Amen. Okay. I'm sorry. You got big on the screen and I was like, yes. Anyway, but I understand. And I am not, this is not prescriptive, this is descriptive, meaning I'm not telling people to laugh at people's funerals. I'm telling people that the question that I was asked was how to, what was the question? Let me show you. The question was how we can laugh at our pain to heal. That's what I'm telling you guys. I'm giving you examples of times in my life that were difficult, times in my life that were painful, and times in my life that were almost beyond the pain that humans are designed to experience. Yeah. And one of the things that we have been given, many things, but one of the things we've been given is laughter, which does good like a medicine. Okay. That's what it says in my book. And I believe it. And I've actually not just believe it, I experience the fact that I can choose for pain to consume me. I can choose for pain, the pain of this life, which compiles as we keep living. You know, the old people say, keep living. I understand why they say that because when you're young, you have less experiences of this thing, these rock stones falling on you and these big waves trying to drown you. Okay. These big waves. When you're young, you had two big waves try to get you. Okay. By the time you get up here where I am near 50, let's have a moment. By the time you get up here near 50, you done had two waves this week try to drown you, okay? And you have had hundreds of waves try to take you clear out. In those moments, there is a choice. And one of the choices that I choose is not to let pain consume me. I I'm not judging or knocking anyone who chooses otherwise. I see people who let things like grief and stuff consume the rest of their days. And I have a lot of grace for that. I also honor my dad by showing up the way that he showed me to show up, which is turning toward the light and laughing. Okay. And laughing. That man was so unserious. I'm sorry. And let me tell you something. If I pass away and y'all don't laugh, did I even do this right? Like if I pass away, me, Rushni, the person who's you're watching here on the internet, if I pass away and y'all don't flood something with pineapples, throw up a little dance video, and every single time you walk past a pineapple in the store, a pineapple on a shirt, you hear something I said, if you don't giggle at some video I put up that brought sparkles of joy into your life, did I even do it right? Like my legacy, I want my legacy to be bursts of sparkles of joy all over the place. I want Black women to be healed, but I also want Black women. I mean, I want like Black women to be like old, okay, putting their head on a pillow at night and chuckling at some foolishness I said back in 2022. That's my legacy, okay? And if we are allowed when this life is done to look down and see what legacy we left, if y'all ain't down here giggling, did I do it right? If y'all down here getting consumed by grief, like consumed. I'm not saying not feeling the grief, but if y'all ain't down here dancing and laughing and giggling and thinking, I can't believe she said that, girl, or walking past a pineapple in a store and giggling about that chick on the internet that brought you sparkles of joy, okay, then did I do it right? That's how I feel. Okay, that's how I feel. Let me see what you're talking about. I look fabulous. Thank you, guys. Okay, I'm trying to be like you. Okay. Okay, trying to be like you. All right. CC said this reminds me. Anyway, that's all people gave me, you guys. Anything else you guys had, I'm going to just talk about it in the comments. CC said this reminds me of those laughter/sad faces in the theater. That's how life is. Correct. It's the tragedy comedy mask, and the tragedy comedy mask is because, okay, you cannot have humor without pain. Okay, Brother Rob Bass said joy and pain. Amen. It's like sunshine and rain. The reason why the tragedy and comedy masks are juxtaposed in that way is because out of the pain grows the observations, right? The observations of the absurdity of it all. And that's where humor comes from. If you pay attention to your funniest comedians, pay attention to them. Like your social media favorites, your like mainstream favorites, favorites in the past, favorites in the current. Okay? Pay attention to what they're showing you. They are elevating, right? What they're doing is they have the superpower of looking at the absurdity, the pain, the tragedies, the weird things, the ridiculousness of life, big and small, right? Some of them go big. Some of them just do little microscopic things that all of us see in day to day life. They have the superpower of gathering that thing up, elevating it to the top of the conversation, right? And then being like, boom, y'all ever notice that? And the thing that they're saying y'all ever notice that about is something that you have been experiencing from an absurd place or a pain place or a ridiculous place or like, why is this happening place, big and small. And you feel connected because they've brought it to the forefront. And the reason why you respond the way you do is because ain't nobody ever brought it to the forefront for you like that. Ain't nobody ever made you feel like we're all having this experience together. And that's part of the reason why I love humor. Okay. Some people take it too far, but too far is relative, right? Now, most of us can agree on what too far feels like in certain places that are inappropriate. But that is why comedy is the way it is. And it has that like weird line and humor and whatever. But it's because comedy heals us. Humor heals us, right? Not just in a physical sense, but in a mental sense and in a spiritual sense. God gave us, if God didn't want us to laugh, he wouldn't have talked about it in the Bible. He wouldn't have given us the actual physical response that we can't control. Okay. Laughter is something that like it just comes out. It's like this response that just right. And the more that like science studies it, it's amazing what it does. I love it. It's one of my favorite things. Okay. Laughing and dancing. Oh, I'm going to do that for as long as possible. You ain't going to catch me not laughing and dancing unless I can't laugh and can't dance. Okay. And the best way to honor me and the legacy that I have out here in these internet streets and in my life streets is to laugh and dance with me, boopy. That's basically what it is. Okay, let me see. Cece said, I will say at both my mom and dad's funerals or leading up to it, my siblings and I found stuff to laugh about. We had to. Yeah, laughing can be a coping mechanism, but laughing can also be a salve. Some people want it to be more serious. And I'm not saying don't give them the serious that they want. I'm just saying for me, and the question that I was asked about healing pain through laughter, it's a way to metabolize your pain. And I choose it. I choose it every day. It's my natural bent. It's what was modeled to me. It wasn't modeled from always a healthy place, right? But that doesn't mean that I can't transmute it, smack it up, flip it, and reverse it, and use it to process to metabolize the absurdity and the ridiculousness of this thing. Okay. Right. Your friends and family will remember your goofiness and crack up with laughter when you leave this place. That legacy, yeah. I don't remember who is it Maya Angelou? I don't wanna misappropriate, but there's a quote where it's like people don't remember what you said to them, but like they remember how you made them feel. Okay. What y'all think this is? Like, we don't know each other in real life, most of us. I don't think I see anybody in each comment section that I know in real life. So the legacy that I have in your life is one of expression, one of feeling seen and understood as a Black woman, healing, feeling seen and understood as a Black woman who is also walking through some of the ridiculousness and the absurdity of this life. Yeah, yeah. And hopefully I made you laugh. Because if I didn't make you laugh, what have I done? Is this thing on? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I mean, I'm not trying to make you laugh like right now, but like I'm just saying, like I be making people laugh, okay, in real life and not in real life, to the point that I have to shut it off because sometimes I be trying to be serious. And okay, I be trying, Fiona. I promise I just be trying for real, I just be trying for real. And when I tell you it don't, I am unserious. I realized that thing at my father's funeral and I never let it go. I be talking to my father in my head. I don't know if y'all be talking to the dead people in your head. I just be talking to my father in my head. If you don't, listen, worry about your liver. Okay. I just be talking to my father in my head. And I'll be like, sir, you got me out here giggling. I am supposed to be really traumatized about whatever's going on right now. This person's saying whatever. And in my head, I am having the stupidest, silliest conversation in my head. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. And I'll be telling my father, I'm like, sir, you really messing me up because I'm supposed to be serious. Okay. Fiona said, yes, I didn't let it consume me. We can't. You know what I mean? And everyone's choice on how to process it is different. That's why, as I get older, I learn about how people metabolize their pain. And as long as how you're metabolizing your pain ain't harmful to others, listen, I might not understand it, boo boo, or harmful to yourself and others. Okay. I don't want how you process your pain to put you or others in physical, mental, or spiritual danger. But other than that, listen, if you need to dance about it, go on dance. You want to sing about it, sing. You want to paint, paint. You want to laugh, laugh. Okay. You need to write, write. You need to create, create. Somehow a spreadsheet gonna get you through it. Go ahead and do it. Because this thing called life can be very traumatic and painful. When you keep living, the waves keep getting bigger and bigger, okay? Busting you in your head. You ain't even got up from the last wave, and this next wave come try to choke you out. Okay. And by the time you get to this part of life, you got to really make decisions. You got like some real serious life decisions to make. You got to be like, how am I going to work through this thing? Are you going to become one of these miserable people, disgruntled about how life busted them in the face and spending the rest of their days complaining about it to everybody who will listen? Or are you going to get up and figure out who you want to be, who you want to create, and create her? And I choose to create her. That's where I am on my own healing journey. Cece said, I want people dancing at my funeral and paint polka dots on my casket with cute messages. I actually don't want a casket. I have already told people what I want, and it involves decomposition and or I'm not even sure about cremation, but that's a whole nother thing. Okay. It involves me and the ocean, okay, in the Virgin Islands. But yeah. So anyway, I don't know if this video went where I thought it was going to be, but we're here now. I want to say in closing, being a Black woman on a healing journey is a beautiful experience. Let me put it that way. I didn't start out on anybody's healing journey. What happened and how I got to where I am right now is I was not getting the results I wanted in my life, following what other people told me to do. I was going down the proverbial conveyor belt as directed by well meaning others. and started to realize that the results that I was getting were horrifying and traumatizing. And then I stepped back and looked at their results. I realized that they were telling me how to work a system that was not rigged it for me to win. And I did not see them getting the results they wanted. I then detached myself from picking fruit from trees that did not bear the fruit that I wanted. Yeah. And what I mean by that is I check the tree before I pick the fruit. I do not take counsel from people who do not know how to create the life that I want. I don't tell the people that I don't take counsel from them because who has time? Okay. I then moved on to realizing that I get to create this thing. Does that mean that everything in my life is exactly how I want it to be? Absolutely not. It does not mean that. But it means that instead of staying in the dark, deep depths of a depression diagnosis, thinking that I was stuck down all the dead ends that I had already moved myself in, I am intentionally and actively moving myself toward a more beautiful life that God intends for me to have. On a day to day basis, I get up and I make healing choices to move me toward the life that I would like to live, the life that God has given me the power to create, the creative power that is within me. God is within me. I will not fail. Okay. According to the power that works within me. So instead of sitting down and just giving up on life that feels like the waves are trying to drown me out, I get up. I pick out my best swimsuit. I buff my surfboard and I run into the waves. Okay. And for me, that is what being a Black woman on a healing journey has been. It has been acknowledging and uncovering all manner of things that well meaning social messaging has brought my way. And realizing that no matter what, with every single day I wake up, every single moment I get here on this planet, I feel teary eyed. I get to choose. And I didn't know that before, you guys. I didn't know I got to choose. I didn't know I got to choose. I fought for this. Okay. The person that's sitting in front of you right now, she fought to think this way. This was not my natural bent. This was not what was modeled for me. This was not what was told to me. There's lots of messaging that came toward me and continues to come. However, what I understand to be 100% true is every single morning that I wake up, mercy is new. Okay. And I choose to walk in the mercy and grace of the new morning and create something different. So if yesterday didn't go the way I wanted it to, okay, today I choose to heal. Today I choose to create something different. Yesterday disoriented me. Yesterday confused me. Yesterday was painful. Yesterday was traumatic. Yesterday felt like an attack. Yesterday, my perceptions weren't perceptioning. Okay. Yesterday, I was depressed and I was this and I was that. And I thought I was out and I thought I was wrong and I thought I could never. And I thought I had made too many bad choices in this direction and all of the things. Guess what? Today is today. That's how I do it. Okay. That's how I do it. What is the outcome of this thought process? I don't know because I'm not there yet. But it's not about the outcome, it's about the journey. Because life is actually the journey, right? Life is not the outcome. The irony of focusing on the journey and the process of healing, not healed. That's why I call myself a Black woman healing. The irony of focusing on the journey is on the journey, focusing on enjoying and choosing in every single moment all of the little things that are happening on this journey. You look around and you realize you're literally transforming and evolving your life into something different. And that's a Black woman healing. Amen. Amen. All right, you guys. Fiona said, "Oh my God, there are so many old complainers in it." There, listen, and what I'm not about to be is one of them. Okay, Fiona. What I'm telling you is listen, be a person that chooses to stand back and observe. Every single, what am I saying? Help God. Experience is a great teacher, but it doesn't have to be your teacher. Okay. Some of us have to bust our head on experience to learn lessons. And let me tell you what, there are some places in my life where I have had to bust my head wide open because I couldn't figure out what was being said to me. So I had to go through that thing and I have the scars to show it. But one of the things I have learned as keep living is I have learned to observe. Yeah. And in the counsel of many, there is safety. What does that mean? People don't even always have to tell me the lesson to be learned anymore. I stand back and I watch other people and their experiences and their results, their fruit, right? Their fruit, I watch them. And from that, I gather data and I decide, is that what I want to do? So, counsel to me is a higher level of teacher than experience. I'm not knocking experience. Like I told y'all, I've chosen experience a lot and I bust my head wide open on experience. But sometimes all you got to do is stand back and see what fruit people are picking off the trees that they have planted in their own life, especially if that person is giving you counsel. And if that person is giving you counsel and they have not created the life that you desire, don't listen to them. Check the tree before you pick the fruit. They cannot tell you how to do the thing. All of us out here getting old. Hey, Lori. Hi. I'm so distracted. Hi, Lori. Okay. So that is all I'm saying to you guys. That is what healing is to me. It is a return to understanding that the thing that I've been looking for, the solution to the pain and the solution to the problems and the solution to the life that I want to create and the solution to all of it, I'm looking for her, but she's in here already. And what I've been doing on this journey is allowing her to expand, grow, show up, and express herself more and more every day. Her being me. Her being me. Lori, don't laugh at me. I got excited. Hi, Lori. Okay, I did it again. Dang nabbit. Squirrel. Oh, girl, I'm all over the place. Anyway, all right, you guys, I am totally over. Let me hit you with all of the promo or whatever. Okay. If you think I'm talking right to you, I have a coaching membership, the Pineapple Crowns coaching membership for Black and West Indian women on a healing journey. Okay. Right now, you can join the waitlist at thepineapplecrowns.com. There is also the Create Your 2024 virtual planning retreat. Self-paced is starting on Friday, July the, let's see, 14th. No, Friday, June the 14th. Sorry, Friday, June the 14th. It is open for enrollment right now. If you visit thepineapplecrowns.com, you can sign up for the virtual planning retreat. Listen, if 2024 has not 2024 the way you wanted 2024 to go, okay? If it ain't doing what you needed it to do, sign up for the planning retreat, boo-boo. You still have 6 months. Okay, a lot of times people get to the beginning of the year, they got all this gusto, and then when the rest of the year come, they're like, oh, well, I guess I didn't do it. I told you about the creators and the fixed minds, the fixed and the creator. I told you about that. Be a person that creates. Create your year. You still have 6 months. Sign up for the planning retreat. If you are a member of the Pineapple Crowns membership, you get a discount. So do not pay full price for the planning retreat. Okay, you get 75% off. All right. If you would like to sign up for the membership will reopen again in July. So sign up for the wait list right now and you'll find out more about how to become a member. Also, let me say this. My son was supposed to have surgery today. Today is May 31st, and my son was supposed to have an entire surgery today. I was supposed to be at a hospital in a waiting room waiting for how he was doing. It has been postponed. Right now, we have a date on the schedule of August 30th, which is, but listen, I surf, okay? I don't spend too much time lamenting anymore. I surf. So I've also told those people that if they have an earlier date to move us up, which means stuff is just really kind of like this right now. So as a mom of a son with special needs, I am very transparent about letting anyone that works with me know that I am doing everything I can to make sure that your experience as a client of mine and a coaching client of mine is as seamless as possible. However, there's a little bit of flux going on back here. Right now, nothing has changed. However, if something is going to change for you guys, I will let you guys know. If I sound like what I'm talking about is right to you, thepineapplecrowns.com. Come and join me. There are links to other things that are wonderful gifts for you in the information box. Check them out. Amen. This was a great conversation. Thank you so much. Yes, Cece. Thank you so much for participating. I will see you guys next week. Probably. Let me see. I'm still a little discombobulated because I was totally like ready to be off and in the hospital for a week, but now I'm at home. So I'm confused. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Be well, be encouraged. Okay. Keep healing, you guys. Here's your pineapple. Bye, y'all.